The man, the myth, the legend, Rick Shiels. Let's take a look at his golf swing. In the setup, I don't see any concerns here. He is leant over quite a bit, meaning his butt is quite significantly over the heels, but I really do not believe that this causes many issues in Rick's golf swing. There are some elements that he builds into his golf swing that push this club path too far into out, and I think when he gets under a little bit of pressure, then those tendencies get even worse, and that's when you'll start to see him hit pushes or overhooks. So from the setup, he works the club into a pretty neutral position here into P2. His glove hand gets into a little bit of a cupped position, but really not that much of a concern. Up to the top of the backswing, the same sort of thing is going on. That left wrist is looking like it's in a little bit of a cupped position, and what that's going to do is open up the club face. His hands travel on a relatively neutral path, but as Rick transitions into his downswing, this is where things get a little bit interesting, and I think he can definitely improve on how he works his body so that his hands can work a little bit better for his golf swing. So if I just draw a vertical line straight down from the butt end of his club, just take note of when he transitions into the downswing, how his hands travel. You'll notice they travel very close to this line, so arguably, in my opinion, the hands get too far behind him in this position here. Now what this is going to do is it's going to prevent Rick from being able to rotate his body as efficiently as he could. So continuing this downswing movement, it still looks to me like this club just gets too shallow in this position here, and you'll see the chest is quite closed off relative to the target. And once he gets into impact, you'll notice that his shoulder plane and the amount of bend that he gets in this right side, so this crunching of his right side, and where his chest is positioned there, his chest hasn't really opened up at all. It's pretty much facing towards the ball, and his hips haven't really opened up at all either, mainly due to the hand path with how deep it is, so how far behind him it is. And you'll start to see that the hands will rotate and flip quite significantly because he has that club face in a relatively open position at the top of the backswing and in towards the downswing, and his club is traveling from in to out. Then he needs to flip his hands quite significantly in order to start this ball somewhat online and not start it so far right. And that's when you start to see his head's going to stay back behind. It's not going to release much. That shoulder plane is going to get quite significantly vertical, and it's going to be very difficult for Rick to rotate from this position here. So you'll see this club is exiting quite high and right, and it's really a pattern that's going to lead to pushes and hooks. So what I would recommend for Rick to do is to be able to get his body to open up a little bit earlier in the downswing so that his hand path can travel. If we go back to the top of the backswing, if we draw this line again that we had, so that his hand path can get away from this line. So more in this direction here rather than close to this line. So there's only a small amount of gap between this red line and Rick's hand path. So in order to get his club path not so far into out, especially when it gets off, then he's going to have to try to get these hands to work further out, and then he's going to be able to exit this club a lot closer to this position here, or somewhere underneath where he is at the moment. So those are my thoughts on Rick's swing, and I really think that he could add in a couple elements that will start to improve his golf swing, and even if he's under pressure, he'll still be able to hit golf shots that are somewhat straight and not so pushy or hooky.